The nonpartisan Wisconsin Legislative Audit Bureau has released its audit of the Wisconsin Lottery for fiscal year 2025. This audit was published as report number 26-04 in April 2026. The following is the report summary. The Wisconsin Lottery sells instant tickets and lotto tickets and participates in the multi-jurisdictional Powerball and Mega Millions lotto games. The Wisconsin Constitution and Wisconsin statutes impose certain limitations on lottery expenses. The Wisconsin Constitution also requires that net proceeds from the Wisconsin Lottery be used exclusively for property tax relief for Wisconsin residents. Net proceeds from the Wisconsin Lottery are largely distributed to owners of primary residences in Wisconsin through the Lottery and Gaming Tax Credit. We provided unmodified opinions on the Wisconsin Lottery's financial statements as of and for the years ended June 30, 2025 and June 30, 2024. These financial statements account for the financial position and activity of the Wisconsin Lottery, which is administered by the Department of Revenue. We conducted this financial audit by auditing the Wisconsin Lottery's financial statements in accordance with applicable government auditing standards, issuing our auditor's opinion, reviewing internal controls, and issuing our auditor's report on internal control and compliance. We also assessed the Wisconsin Lottery's compliance with certain statutory requirements. Since its inception, the Wisconsin Lottery has provided $6.4 billion in property tax relief, including $315.2 million distributed in fiscal year 2025. 2023 Wisconsin Act 19, the 2023-2025 Biennial Budget Act, authorized $88.7 million in general purpose revenue, or GPR, in fiscal year 2025 for the Wisconsin Lottery to fund retailer compensation expenses and vendor fees. The provision of GPR funding increased net lottery proceeds available for the Lottery and Gaming Tax Credit in fiscal year 2025. However, the actual amount distributed for the Lottery and Gaming Tax Credit decreased from $365.4 million in fiscal year 2024 to $315.2 million in fiscal year 2025, or by 13.7%, due to lower than anticipated ticket sales. The actual amount distributed was $236.3 million in fiscal year 2021, $340.2 million in fiscal year 2022, and $319.7 million in fiscal year 2023. Property tax relief is funded by net proceeds from the Wisconsin Lottery and by transfers from other gaming-related appropriations. In October 2025, the Wisconsin Department of Administration and the Legislature's Joint Committee on Finance authorized the use of $292.8 million in net lottery proceeds for the fiscal year 2026 Lottery and Gaming Tax Credit. Wisconsin Lottery ticket sales decreased from $954.8 million in fiscal year 2024 to $861.8 million in fiscal year 2025, or by 9.7%. Sales of instant tickets, which are scratch-off and pull-tab tickets, decreased by $4.4 million, or by 0.7% from fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2025. Sales of lotto tickets, which are tickets for raffle and lotto games, including Mega Millions, Powerball, Badger 5, Fast Play, Daily Pick 3, and Daily Pick 4, decreased by $88.6 million, or by 25.9%, primarily due to a decrease in Powerball and Mega Millions ticket sales, resulting from lower jackpots for those games in fiscal year 2025 than in fiscal year 2024. The amount of ticket sales was $894.5 million in fiscal year 2021, which included $635.2 million in instant games and $259.3 million in lotto games, $887.8 million in fiscal year 2022, which included $638.9 million in instant games and $248.9 million in lotto games, $981.7 million in fiscal year 2023, which included $654.4 million in instant games and $327.3 million in lotto games, $954.8 million in fiscal year 2024, which included $612.9 million in instant games and $341.9 million in lotto games, and $861.8 million in fiscal year 2025, which included $608.5 million in instant games and $253.3 million in lotto games. The Wisconsin Lottery was in compliance with the statutory requirements we reviewed for fiscal year 2025. Wisconsin statutes impose limitations on certain types of lottery expenses, including requirements that at least 50% of lottery ticket sales must be used as prize payments to players, certain administrative expenses may not exceed 10% of gross lottery revenues, and payments to retailers for performance incentives may not exceed 1.0% of gross revenues from the sale of lottery tickets. The Wisconsin Lottery complied with these requirements from fiscal year 2021 through fiscal year 2025. To view this and other publications from the Nonpartisan Wisconsin Legislative Audit Bureau, please visit our website at www.legis.wisconsin.gov/lab. To report fraud, waste, and mismanagement in state government, please contact our hotline at 1-877-FRAUD-17.